this guy over here was a Cubs fan.
Oh, huge Cubs fan.
It's all that was left.
I was only in single digits, 8, 9 years old. I could get the games on WGN, yes.
And when our broadcast careers took us to Toledo, Ohio, Bob sort of, kind of dabbled with the Cubs again.
Brewers were American League at the time. Cubs were National League, so I thought there's no real conflict here. There wasn't even interleague play at that time.
So we were there in 1984 when his Chicago Cubs National League team lost to the 1984 San Diego Padres, of which you were on that squad. A team he hated so much.
I took my Cub bobblehead out onto my patio.
And smashed it with a baseball bat into powder.
And left it there all winter.
Yeah, that was Cubs then. You guys had high hopes for that team. That was a surprise, I think, that the Padres ended up beating them.
I think Sutcliffe went in the last game of that series.
There was a surprise. The surprise got him so much, he smashed his Cubs ball.
And that was it. That was when I went, you know what? I'm done with this team. They broke my heart in '69 when I was 9 years old. That was tough enough. And then there was just horrible years, and then they worked their way back up, and they got you right to the edge again. And I couldn't take it, but the Cubs have had other bad luck at the time, which I'm happy about now because I'm a Cub hater, so it's easy.
Okay,
but I don't.
That's good.
But I don't expect you to carry the same malice in your heart that I carry for the Cubs in my heart.
But you were on a lot of different teams in your career. You spent your time popping around quite a bit. How does all this compare with all the other places you've been and seen?
Well, you're right. I did go to a lot of teams, and that's why I can't like and hate too many of them because there's too many I played for. So
got a lot of pals out there.
I do. So the Milwaukee experience so far has been outstanding, and I hear great things about the people, and I went and saw the ballpark, which was great. So I'm looking forward to it.
So when this job popped up, when there was a managing opening in Milwaukee, and your name is on the list, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, I really want this job? Well, it's nice to be interviewed for the job. If I get the job, I get the job?
No, there's certain teams that I interviewed for that I thought if I get it, it'd be nice. But if I don't, I'm in a good spot, which was in Anaheim at my home. So I lived there and was raised there, so that was fine. But when the Milwaukee job came up, it's a little different. It's an opportunity to go to a team that has a chance to win. Even before we got the extra pitchers that we got, I still thought they had a great core group and a chance to win. And I heard nothing but great things about the city and the people.
But picking up Roenicke and Markham didn't hurt when you heard that might happen too.
No, I know Doug said in my press conference that he wanted to improve the starting pitching staff. I didn't think it was going to be that much, so I was really pleased there. And then we added Saito also to do the bullpen, and I think that was a big addition also.
And then you said something surprising when we were off the air here about wishing or wanting your pitching staff to be more ready. You feel like they're just not quite ready to go yet.
Yeah, I think that's the last thing in spring training that comes along is those pitchers, they get extended and they're trying to get their command. We're going into the season, we figure they can go deep in games instead of maybe 4 or 5 innings. And I think a couple of them are there now. We're hopefully waiting for Markham to hopefully he'll come out of this thing feeling good his next outing. We skipped 1 start for him, and that's a concern. So with Roenicke out, we don't need another one out.
Are you worried about the neck shoulder thing? Is that under control or?
Well, it's under control, but there's still concern there. The neck, whether it causes a little irritation in the shoulder or not, I don't know which caused what, but he's got a little bit there, and he's been feeling good the last couple days. So hopefully that continues and his next start's good.
So a lot of managers are hard numbers guys. And so many innings out of a pitcher, so many games out of starters. You need so many wins out of home and away, and it all breaks down to numbers. Are you hard down into numbers, or are you, I don't know, more, I don't know how to put it, artistic, or you feel the game a little more?
I'm not so much into numbers. I think you have to have them, but your bullpen depends on a lot on what those numbers are for your starters.
Yeah.
When I was in Anaheim, we won sometimes because we had a great bullpen. We had okay starters at the very beginning, but our bullpen won it for us. So You know, and then all of a sudden, then we had great starters and a great bullpen, and that won too. So there's a lot of different ways, and those starters, certainly it's ideal if they can go, you know, 7-8 innings, you know, a lot. That's huge for your team.
Are we going to run the bases a lot more this year? Or are we just going to burn them up? These guys have the green light to just go.
They have so far.
Really?
So, yeah. So they're going, and yes, we're going to run the bases this year. We're not going to try to run into.
What's your rule on that? If you go, you better get the base, or you'll or do you lose? If you're thrown out so many times, now I'll tell you when to go, or how does it work exactly?
Well, it's a little of that, but I want them to know too that if they're going and they're being aggressive and they're going to get thrown out, I'm okay with it. So I can't panic too fast and just say, oh, you know, you're running into too many outs and we're not going to do it anymore. So the conversation is just going to be that, hey, we need to be a little smarter. We need to pick our pitches a little better and make sure that the pitcher is a little slower to home plate, and so our percentage could be a little better.
Who were the managers that you played for that you admired the most, or that you would copy in style? Or
well, going way back, a manager that was in Milwaukee for a while, Dale Crandall. He is probably my favorite, and I played for Dale a couple of years in AAA, and then 1 year with Seattle. I think Lasorda, with his enthusiasm and his motivation
and his great press conferences after the ball game. If you could deliver one of those, that would be awesome, Ron.
I don't think I'm going to.
How do I feel about Kingman's performance?
Yeah. So you know, and then you know, Dick Williams. I played for him, and I played for Pete Rose, and you know, Davenport, and there's a lot of different ones that. And I took a little bit of, you know, from each of them, the things that I liked about them, and trying to do that here.
What was the interview process like? Because were you worried about giving wrong answers, or are you just going to give your answers, and if they were right, they were right. If they were wrong, they were wrong?
I was more just trying to be myself, because anytime you try to answer the way that they want to, it never seems to come out well. So
that's how I got this job.
So it was, but it's a tough process. It's you know, it's about 3 hours of questions, and they give you, you know, the toughest, you know, scenarios that they can ask you, and then you're trying to piece together something, you know, just like that. I mean, you don't have time to think about it.
How many meetings did you have before, get-togethers did you have before you actually got the call and said, okay, the job is yours?
I had 2 interviews, and then I had a dinner with Marquette.
Did you walk away from the second dinner going, that's it, if you want me, fine, otherwise don't bother me anymore?
No, I felt really good after both the interviews. I love the people that I interviewed with Doug Melvin and Gord Ash and Dan O'Brien, and Mark Atanasio was in the second one. And sometimes you do interviews and you walk out thinking, I don't know if I really want to do this, and other times you think, wow, what great people, I'd love to have this job, and that's the way I felt.
All right, Rock, just so you know, stand by, because we're going to do the rare back-to-back interview here. So we need the other theme ready to go. One more question before we let you go, because I know you're busy, or a couple more. Before we let you go, what are your expectations this year? Is it division win, or it's a disappointment for you, or wild card?
Division win, I think that's what we want to shoot for. And yes, I will be disappointed if we don't get there. And I know a lot of things have to happen right. You have to stay healthy. You have to, you know, click all together. Even though we look good on paper, still a lot of things have to happen right to win the division. And there's tough teams in our division. So, but that's what we're after.
All right, scale of 1 to 10. 10 being this is the greatest interview you've ever been involved with. 1, it was this was a total waste of time. Go ahead and rate the interview, Ron.
It's a little above 5.
A little above 5.
Average.
He's a tough grader.
Right, that's all right. It's a tough curtain, the Roenicke class. I get it. All right, Ron, thanks for coming by this morning.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it. Now, Rock, go ahead and roll that Randy Wolf theme, because he is standing by.